my channel. So this is a bit of a different video because I know like most of the people that probably watch me, the like 5 people that do, already watch anime. They're already into it. But like I do have a few friends who aren't into anime, and they always ask me, so what would you recommend someone who doesn't watch anime? Like, what kind of shows would you recommend to them? And I'm always just there like, oh my god, this is such a difficult question, because I feel as though if I give them the wrong anime, they're going to think all anime is shit, or I don't know. It's always like a difficult one. And it's also like, I feel as though based on the person and their personality, their likes and dislikes. So I always try to take those into consideration before recommending something, because I feel as though, as much as this list is going to be a very basic list and a very normie list, because I mean, you know, what else can you recommend to those who aren't into anime, you know? Like, you want to ease them into it. You don't want to throw them in the deep end and, like, you know, just ease them into the fandom. And then one day maybe they might become a weeb, or just a standard casual watcher who won't be, you know, closed off to the idea of the medium of anime. Because I feel as though a lot of people think that it's just one genre, when, like, there's so many genres within anime that I feel as though there's really something for everyone. There really is. Like, you know, some people might be into romance, some people might be into sports anime, some people might be into, like, I don't know, psychological thrillers. So I do feel as though there's something for everyone, as long as you have like an open mind and like give anime a chance. There's something for everyone. So as I was saying, there's so many different genres within anime, so I'm definitely gonna touch on a few genres, not all, because there's so many, and yeah, it's just going to take forever to get into. Otherwise, I'm just going to cover a few of the obvious ones, and these are very normie shows, so established weebs, don't come at me please, because I'm just trying to get people into anime and not like ease them in, you know, not like scare them off or anything. So most of these are already completed series, and if they're not completed, they've got just like a few seasons and not too many episodes. For example, I think the longest one on my list is either like 60 episodes. I can't really remember the exact number of episodes, but as much as that sounds overwhelming, it's not, because these episodes aren't like an hour long. They're about 20 minutes each. So it shouldn't, like, I mean, like, if you think about it, it's not that much of your day. You can watch like 3 episodes in an hour, easy. So yeah, going to start off with Battle Shonen, because I feel as though that tends to be everyone's gateway into the anime way of life. It was mine. For me, it was Cardcaptor Sakura, which is a shoujo, but Bleach was my first Battle Shonen, and Bleach was what, you know, it was the anime for me that got me into, oh, what's anime? Let me get into this. Like, this seems like hella exciting stuff. So yeah, I'm not going to recommend Bleach because it's like 300 to 400 episodes long. Like, I don't memorize the number of episodes, sorry, but it's around like 300 and something episodes, so it's a long watch. If you guys have time, I'm here for Bleach. I stan it, watch it, skip the filler arcs. So I'll put a link down below where you can find a website that tells you to skip which episodes, but that's not part of the list. So for my Battle Shonen, I'm recommending Attack on Titan and Kimetsu no Yaiba, aka Demon Slayer, which is the English title, I think. Yeah, it is the English title. I don't know what I'm saying, I think. It is the English title. So I feel as though Attack on Titan is a really good gateway Battle Shonen, because it's got a lot going on and there's a lot of character growth with the protagonist, Eren. I mean, the first episode grips you straight away. It's quite like horrific. Like, if you're into action, this is all action packed. So Battle Shonen is usually action-packed shows. From the first episode, a lot happens and you're just there like, whoa, what just happened? And it grips you. It's like, it's one of the few animes that gripped me from the first episode. I tend to have a 3-episode rule. If I can't get into an anime within 3 episodes, I tend to put it in the back bench. I might come back to it later. I might never come back to it, but I feel as though animes, like, you need to watch a few episodes before it becomes really good, because what happens in the first few episodes is that there's world building or like character setting, so those are the episodes where you kind of get to know the world. You don't get thrown in the deep end, because if you're given all of this information, it can be quite overwhelming. But Attack on Titan is able to grip you from the first episode without overly overwhelming you, overwhelming you too much. It grips you. You want to know what's going to happen next. You want to understand what's going on. But basically, what Attack on Titan is about is this boy whose family kind of breaks up because, his whole world falls apart because these titans, these giant human-like creatures, destroy his entire home city, and, so he has to escape with his friends and his adopted sister and get to somewhere safer. And yeah, it's just an adventure. It begins from there. He wants to get revenge on these humanoid creatures. Humanoid creatures. Yeah, and he grows up a bit, so there's a bit of time skip going on, but it's well done actually, because I've noticed that quite a few animes tend to use the time skip and it's not that well done. Fairy tale. I feel like I'm gonna get attacked for saying that, I don't know. But yeah, and then so you just see, and it becomes a lot deeper than that. There's a lot of politics involved, religion involved, like military stuff going on, for a lack of a better word. I'm really bad at explaining this, basically. But yeah, this boy, his world gets destroyed by these giant creatures, and he goes off to get revenge on these giant creatures, and then finds out there's a whole load of crap going on behind these creatures, and it's not as simple as it seems at first. So it's definitely a ride. It's gripping. It's definitely going to grip you. I was going to say, if I was going to compare it to like like in real life show, would be kind of like Game of Thrones, but I don't know. What would you guys compare it to, those who have seen Attack on Titan? All I'm saying, it's very gripping. And then you've got Kimetsu no Yaiba, aka Demon Slayer, which is another... This anime is incredible, because I had stopped watching Battle Shonen for like a solid 3 to 4 years. I had given up on it. I was like, I'm just going to stick to my shoujo, my slice of life. I'm not going to get back into shonen. Like, the only shonen I think I was watching consistently was Food Wars and Haikyuu. Yeah, those were the only shonen I was watching, and even then they weren't battle shonen, so yeah, I was just there like, I'm done with the fighting. I'm done with all of that. But then I watched Demon Slayer last year while I was in Korea, and I was like, this has brought back the feeling that Bleach used to give me, that Hunter x Hunter used to give me. Like, it has, like, ignited something in me. So I feel as though if someone who stopped watching Battle Shonen could get it back into shonen with Demon Slayer, it's 100% an anime I would recommend to those of you new guys, like you newbies who haven't watched any anime at all. And again, it's another very like gripping story, keeps you on edge. It's about this boy who also has his family completely destroyed. Not his whole world, because his whole world has been riddled with these creatures for a very long time. These creatures are obviously demons, as the title says. And again, he wants to exact revenge. And I don't want to give too much away, like, don't want to spoil anything, but he wants to fix something which at the moment cannot be fixed, but that's what his journey is about. He's about getting revenge on these demons, like killing these demons, Demon Slayer, and trying to fix an important part of his life, a very, very important part of his life. And seeing him go from this weak boy to gaining a power, I feel like, the standard shonen trope, like, not, I don't know why I'm saying that, like, newbies are supposed to know that, but let me just tell you guys, you new guys, the standard shonen trip is a weak boy gaining powers and then getting stronger bit by bit. Sometimes it's well done, sometimes it's not well done, but clearly Attack on Titan and Demon Slayer are doing something right. So definitely watch those two if you're into fighting, like boys defeating creatures, gripping stories, all of that. Like an exciting, fast-paced story. If you're looking for an exciting, fast-paced story, Demon Slayer and Attack on Titan are definitely for you. The next two anime that I'm going to recommend are animes that are satirical comedies. And I feel as though, you know, as adults, if you, I don't know if children are watching this or not, but, you know, young adults who are into, you know, shows and want to get into anime, I feel as though satirical comedy is something we're all into. That's me making an assumption, but, you know, some of us are into satirical comedies. And if you are, then I recommend Aggretsuko and Saiki. So Aggretsuko is actually a Sanrio character. So those of you who like Hello Kitty, then I'm sure you'll find Aggretsuko cute. But she does have a hidden like part of her personality which you'll learn about if you do choose to watch it. But Aggretsuko is basically a satirical take on the office worker life. You know, something I definitely relate to, something I'm sure a lot of us relate to, and if you don't relate to, it's bloody hilarious anyway, and you can laugh at office workers and be like, ha, shame, that's your life. But yeah, I mean, if you are a bit petty like that. So definitely recommend Aggretsuko. They're like, I mean, I feel as though they're after my failed attempt at saying anthropomorphic, I had to take a minute because embarrassed, obviously. But yeah, so Aggretsuko is a cat and all her office workers are other types of animals. You've got a gorilla, you've got, I think he's a meerkat, I forgot. But you've got a donkey, Elon Musk donkey. Yeah, there's so many other like animals, but they're all anthropomorphic characters, obviously, but which shouldn't deter you from watching it. If anything, it's great. I mean, if you like Family Guy and if you like, you know, The Simpsons and stuff, you're sure to like Aggretsuko. And the second one is Saiki, similar to Aggretsuko, but you've got actual humans. And instead of a satirical take on adults, it's a satirical take on high schoolers. So that's always exciting to watch if you want to have a bit of a throwback. I'm saying this as a 27-year-old who's going to be 28. But if you're here as a teen, then maybe that's something you guys can relate to. Just a satirical take on how, like, you know, the different cliques and cliches of the type of high schoolers you can get in a high school. There's a lot of high school going on. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's about this guy who has psychic powers. And you know, his analysis of all these different types of characters in his life, in his high school. But yeah, I definitely recommend those two. Again, if you're into satirical comedy, I'm sure you'll enjoy those two shows. So the third genre I'm going to focus on is psychological thriller. I'm sure my weaves already know. The most obvious one I'm going to recommend is Psycho-Pass. So Psycho-Pass focuses on this newbie agent. She's an investigator for the police and she gets assigned an enforcer. An enforcer is a criminal essentially, but a high functioning criminal who helps out the inspectors with their investigations. And the thing with Psycho-Pass is that it follows the typical psychological thriller trope of living in a dystopia. And the problem with this dystopia is that people in general are given these crime coefficients. And these crime coefficients essentially determine how bad or morally incorrect a person is depending on the behaviour, you know, their behaviour, the things they're into, the content they consume, and all. It's very Black Mirror-esque, it's very dystopian. I feel as though, you know, it's kind of happening in real life. You know, people are being watched constantly, people are being constantly judged, and unfortunately these crime coefficients can determine someone who might be a criminal before they even commit a crime, which I feel as though, you know, objectively speaking, it's quite unfair. I mean, not objectively, I don't know, not everyone will share the same sentiments as me, but subjectively speaking, I guess, I feel as though it's unfair because someone might stop themselves from committing a crime and be like, whoa, hang on a sec, this is not the right thing to do, I should not be doing this, and not end up committing a crime. But these people are already branded as a criminal before they even get to commit the crime, and when they do, the crime coefficient kind of goes up, which again, I feel as though depending on the crime, it's all, you know, something might be worse than the other. And, you know, some people might commit a crime out of desperation. For example, a starving older brother might end up stealing something to feed his, like, younger siblings or something, you know. I mean, like, as much as he committed a crime, he did it for, like, the good of his family. So it's all, like, you know, again, subjective. Standard psychological thriller trope, being in a dystopia, questioning morality, questioning the system that you live in. So for example, in Psycho-Pass, people are predetermined, their careers are predetermined by a system called the Sybil system. And, you know, the Sybil system kind of like decides, you get to be a teacher, you get to be a police officer, you get to be a bum for like the rest of your life, depending on, again, the things that these people buy, the kind of content they consume, like their personality, which, like, you know, is really unfair because, like, people can change, people might, you know, decide to take a different route in life, you know, like, people should have the ability to decide what they want for their lives by themselves, as opposed to a system determining what is best for you in the most logical way possible. So that's what basically Psycho-Pass is about. I recommend watching season 1 as a standalone. You don't need to watch the other seasons, I feel as though many other people will agree with me on this basis. So yeah, definitely watch Psycho-Pass season 1. It's incredible. Like, you start questioning the system. If you like that kind of dystopian vibes, Psycho-Pass is definitely for you. And moving on to the next anime in the same genre is Neon Genesis Evangelion. This anime, I had an existential crisis while watching this anime because it really, really makes you think about yourself. It makes you reflect on yourself. Like, the thing with Neon Genesis Evangelion, before I talk about my feelings on the whole anime, let me just tell you what it's about. It's a mecha series. I know my mecha friends are going to attack me later on, be like, you recommended a mecha on your channel, because, I mean, I'm not a hater or anything, but I don't really watch mecha, you know. I mean, I've watched a couple of, like, the Gundam, like, series, you know, because there's, like, so much going on in Gundam anyway. Noah Zero, I liked Noah Zero, by the way. It's a good anime, but I don't know if I'd recommend it to newbies. But yeah, Neon Genesis Evangelion, on the surface level, will be like, oh, it's these robots, you know, fighting this force. But on a deeper level, again, it involves politics, military strategy, involves, you know, the whole dark, twisted psychological thought processes behind things, the questioning morality. I feel as though that's a big part of psychological thriller, you know, when, like, the line between good and bad is blurred. And I kind of like that stuff. I really do enjoy it. So if you're into robots fighting, but if you also like watching things about military tactics, like, I know I'm making it sound very simplified, but it's so deep. Like I said, I had an existential crisis. The last few episodes, like 3 to 4 episodes, it digs deep into the human psyche. It really does. It makes you think, like, the anxiety, every single, like, as much as, like, there are people who are diagnosed with anxiety, and, you know, anxiety as a mental health issue is completely different to normal anxieties that people have. That's not me trying to, like, you know, minimize normal people's anxieties or anything, because they're very valid. But Neon Genesis Evangelion focuses on, like, human anxiety, like on the human race as a whole, like on a whole level. Like everyone has these anxieties, everyone has insecurities. As much as like you get confident people who might not have like that many insecurities, but they still are like mildly insecure about something maybe. But yeah, so it really does make you think, like it really does make you think about the human race as a whole, like everything that every single human being goes through, why everyone has these insecurities. I'm just stopping here because it's incredible. Honestly, it's incredible. Like, it really makes you think. And if you're anything like me, you might end up having an existential crisis whilst watching Neon Genesis Evangelion. But moving on from these darker animes, I'm going to recommend something a bit more wholesome. My favourite genre, my form of escapism. Rom-coms. I absolutely love rom-com animes. And for those of you who are also into rom-com, if you're into K-drama, you will love these two animes, I promise you. Especially Itazura and Kiss. There's so many Asian dramas that are based off of the storyline of Itazura and Kiss. For example, Playful Kiss, which is the K-drama version. Mischievous Kiss in Tokyo, which is the J-drama version. I know there's like 2 Taiwanese drama versions, one that was made in the thousands and a more recent one. So like, if you're into Asian dramas, you're gonna love Itazura and Kiss, without a doubt. It's about this girl who isn't the most intelligent girl, falls in love with this incredibly intelligent guy, and they're both in high school, but you see them grow up from high school students into young adults and try to figure their lives out. It's very slice of life, just these two people like growing into each other. Standard rom-com, what's not to like? And again, if you're into K-dramas or any other types of Asian dramas, you're definitely gonna love Itazura and Kiss. And then there's Fruits Basket, and I'm gonna recommend the remake. And as much as I love the original, it was very hard for me to admit that the remake's kind of better for Fruits Basket. It follows the standard original manga storyline, because the first anime kind of had to create their own ending because the manga hadn't finished back then. I love the original because nostalgia vibes, but with the remake, you kind of get the ending that was actually in the manga. It's not complete just yet. It's got a few seasons out, but it's honestly a great watch. It's basically about this girl, standard high school girl, who ends up meeting someone in her high school who is cursed with an interesting curse, without me giving too much away, and how she gets to know this person and all of his other family members who are also cursed with this curse, and she tries to find a way to break the curse, basically. So it's just her journey trying to developing relationships with all these different people and trying to free them of this curse. Whether or not she does it, you will find out once the anime is finished. And the last genre I'm going to focus on is Neo-noir. And the thing with this genre is that I absolutely love this kind of humour. It's a cynical attitude towards everything in life, and there's no other person who does the cynical view on life better than the great Watanabe, which is why I'm going to recommend 2 of his works, Samurai Champloo and Cowboy Bebop. Samurai Champloo is about samurais in this weird alternate feudal era of Japan, which has hip-hop culture kind of like low-key incorporated into it, not like high-key hip-hop culture, like just like, it's got nujabs. I love nujabs. Music in it which adds to the hip-hop feel, and it's just, honestly, it's just a brilliant story. It's about samurai and, these 2 samurai that have to get along even though they don't really get along with each other, and their binding factor is the protagonist, this girl who is trying to find someone she's looking for. So she uses these 2 samurai because she kind of wants them as bodyguards to protect her from the big bad world. and she's looking for this guy known as the Sunflower Man. Whether or not she finds him, again, watch the anime. And Cowboy Bebop is a space western. So, you know, you kind of get the western vibes from Cowboy. And it's got my favourite protagonist. I love him to bits, Spike Spiegel. And his nakama, his friends, they go across this adventure. I was trying to think of the word, but like intergalactic adventure, you know, across galaxies, through the universe. And it's very episodial, so again, I feel like Samurai Champloo has an overarching story. With Cowboy Bebop, there is an overarching story, but per episode it's an episodial anime, so yeah, there's a different storyline for each episode. But yeah, Spike Spiegel, our favourite cowboy, travelling across the universe, and you just, you know, go along on a nice adventure with him. Again, I love his cynical attitude, the same as you'll find in Samurai Champloo. So if you're a very cynical person, or if you find cynicism interesting, you'll definitely love Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo. But yeah, those are my animes that I would recommend to newbies for like the different genres. There's hundreds of animes out there, thousands of animes out there. So obviously I couldn't include them all. There's so many I wanted to include myself. Like I want to throw FMAB in there, but this would be a very long video otherwise. So if you guys have any like animes you'd want to recommend to newbies, put it in the comments below, and I'm sure they'll love to check it out as well. Peace.